Hi, and welcome to a brand new episode of Sipping Tea with Suzanne. I am your fabulous host, Positively Suzanne, and I'm here in the studio with the lovely Miss Tara. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing great, even better now that I am here with you, my friend.
Yes.
Great way to close out the Wednesday. It was a beautiful day today.
It was
I got some sunshine
nice.
this morning, so I'm in a good mood. I'm very happy today.
That's good. And I think we're
Yes.
actually going to have a good day again tomorrow.
Thank God.
The weekend, no.
No, it will be our 14th Saturday in a row with rain.
It will be.
Like, it's crazy. It's driving me nuts.
It is. So I'm wondering if I need to start working weekends and taking days off in the week.
That's literally what I was telling someone. I'm going to just have to rearrange my schedule. So who wants to do a meeting on Saturday? I'll be available because I will be inside in the rain. And next Wednesday, when it's sunny again, we'll be outside.
I think so. It seems pretty smart because I'm thinking we've been waiting because we love Maine.
Yes.
And we've been waiting to
What
explore
part of Maine do you
So
go
we
to?
do everything. We do
Anywhere?
Kennebunkport. We
Okay.
do New York,
Yep.
Maine.
Very
we
nice.
do, is it Lewistown? Like we just drive through
Oh,
Elizabethtown. Like so my husband's
Yep.
a photographer, so he's into the lighthouses and
Yes.
they have
Yep.
such beautiful scenery in Maine.
God, I love it up there.
So
yeah.
every weekend, like we've been putting it off. I'm like, okay.
Like, all right, maybe next weekend.
Yes.
Maybe the weekend after this weekend.
I don't know. It
We'll
was
have
like,
some luck. We'll see.
we'll see.
We'll
And
see.
Father's Day weekend, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Nope. So
No luck.
no
but-
such luck. But you know, I'm grateful. We're blessed. So I'm
Exactly.
good with that.
For
I'm so
sure.
excited to have you in the studio. So I'm
Thank
just going to
you.
greet the guests and we're going to come back over and it's going to be
Yeah.
all about you.
Sounds good. I'm
All
excited.
right. Yay. First and foremost, I do have to say thank you to my wonderful guests, my viewers and my subscribers for tuning in week after week. I truly appreciate you. I appreciate your feedback, your engagement, and your interaction. As you know, we are in June, so we are wrapping up the season. After Miss Tara, we have Miss Jessica next week, and then we have the season finale, and then I get 2 lovely months off, and we're back in September with some brand new guests and some exciting events. Want to shout out our executive producer, Paul Anderson, for bringing the magic week after week.
Yes.
And, you know, this show is what it is because of the fabulous guests that I have on the show. I just get to talk to amazing people. And I'm excited because I have Miss Tara
Thank you.
with me today. And it's funny because, like, we have a story, but we're going to, before we talk about
Okay.
that story,
Yes.
welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you. I'm excited to be here. I feel like it's been a long time coming. I've been watching your podcast for probably however long you've had it. Since before the studio days.
Okay.
So it's been a
oh
little
my
bit.
God, I know, right?
Yes, so I was super excited. I ran into Echo at the E4L event, and she was like, I just came from Sipping Tea with Suzanne, and I knew exactly what she was talking about.
Oh
like,
my goodness.
Okay, you weren't just having tea, you were on her pod. So I'm very excited to be here, share a little bit about my story, connect with you, your guests. So yeah.
Oh,
I'm
wonderful.
excited.
Well, I wish you would ask. You know,
Yeah.
I just, I think when I ran into folks, there's just so much going on at these
Oh,
events
yeah.
and to talk and
Yes.
things like
Yeah.
that. Sometimes I was like, oh, I should have asked. And it was actually
Yeah.
that night that I said,
Yeah.
hey, I've been meaning to ask you to be on the show. And you're like,
Please, have me, my friend.
and I'm
have
like,
me.
just ask me. But I
Yes,
get it. I
yeah.
get it. I
Oh,
get
yeah.
it. Nothing
Yeah.
before it's time, though, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, divine timing. for
Divine
sure.
timing.
Yeah.
So, well, welcome to the show.
Thank
and
you.
I actually am really excited to have you on because you're the founder and CEO of Making It Marketing.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, but before we go into what that is and what it does entail, so tell me, like, what did you dream of being when you were young and growing up?
A lot of things
Yes.
to start. Let's see. So my first pipe dream, this is embarrassing to say, was to own a Webkinz store. So that just shows how Gen Z I am. You look confused. Do you remember Webkinz?
Oh my God,
Like
no.
those, you don't remember Webkinz?
No, what is that?
Okay, I think because your kids came like after Webkinz
Okay.
existed. So Webkinz were basically like these little stuffed animal plushies. It was like maybe
Okay.
around 2007.
Okay.
7-ish, and
Okay.
like they came with these little tags on them with
Okay.
a code, and you would put the code into Webkinz online and like basically take care of these pets online.
Okay.
But the more Webkinz you had, the
Yeah.
cooler you were
Okay.
as a kid, as a Gen Z kid. So my first dream, because I went into Hallmark with my mom, she brought me and she was
Okay.
like, all right, I'll get you just one. And there was like a wall of them. And I'm like, well, what if there was a store with a wall of them everywhere, like just covered in Webkins. So that was my first dream.
Okay.
So as you can tell, I've always thought about owning a business. So that was always like on my mind. I've done a variety of weird little side hustles. I used to make duct tape wallets. That was never going to be a full-time job. There was times where I thought like, oh, I'll be a doctor, an anesthesiologist. Because when you're a kid, you just want to pick something that sounds like it's going to make you a lot of money.
Yes.
But as you grow up, you start to realize like, oh, work kind of becomes your whole life. So you want to pick something that you love. So I've always been creative. I've always loved art, crafts, like just making things. And I kind of found marketing just by being a consumer, like by being in stores when my mom would take me shopping and be like, buy one, get one free. It's not really free. It's kind of like half off. Like there's so many different ways to reverse engineer those kinds of deals.
Absolutely.
And that's what kind of put me on the marketing route. So in high school, I took a graphic design class. I took a marketing class. I started kind of getting more into the business world, and that's ultimately what led me to doing what I do now.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay. I love Webkins.
A long-winded version of that.
No, I think it's fantastic.
It's not just like, oh, I wish I was an astronaut. Like, I've had this in the back of my mind. Always.
I love it. I do. I love the Webkin. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Paul collected those.
Okay.
There was a couple of different things like Furbies and Webkins and all of those Beanie Babies and all of those things. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't because they don't exist anymore.
Well, they're out there, but like no one uses them, so it's
not
fine.
yet. Not yet.
Kids these days, they're all on TikTok, Instagram. They don't need Webkins or Club. Do you remember Club Penguin? Did you hear about Club Penguin?
No.
Oh my goodness, I am like so showing my Gen Z-ness right now. It was a similar concept without like the physical plushies, but you would have like penguins and then just do like little games and stuff. Oh my god, it was so fun.
Okay.
That's like my childhood growing up. It's so weird too, because like one of the things I always share to clients is like, hey, I kind of grew up with social media and I still am. We still are like evolving with it. So that's something that has really helped me leverage like my knowledge is being able to see like where we started. Like I was in 4th grade when I got Instagram, which is crazy to say.
My.
Like, yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to have it back then. Instagram, Snapchat. But if you were on Facebook, like that wasn't cool back then. But now Facebook's like everything. So I do all my business through Facebook, LinkedIn. So times have changed for sure.
It really is. Yes. Like social media, like is so wild to me because like when I was growing up, like that did not exist.
Yes.
Like if you embarrassed yourself, nobody knows but the people who were there.
And now if you embarrass yourself, it could go viral.
It does go viral.
If someone catches it.
Yeah, because everybody wants to be a content creator, right?
Exactly.
But I love that. I love that. So you went to school and you fell into marketing.
Yes.
And you love it. But you said like, in the back of your mind, you kind of always knew that you wanted to have your own business.
Always.
So you are now the founder and CEO of Makin It Marketing. So let's talk about how that dream came about and how the name came about.
Oh, I love this story. I love sharing this. So the dream, it was a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
Like I went to business school, I studied marketing, I studied entrepreneurship, but like in college, everyone's just so, including like, you know, the people who are helping you, your professors, your mentors, they're all about like, you gotta get a 9 to 5, you gotta get a salary, you gotta do this, you have to, basically you get like this checklist of societal norms of like, you have to do X, Y, and Z. So I had in my mind originally like, okay, I'll start Making It Marketing as like a side thing for fun to learn, because I had different marketing internships, of course, in school, different part-time jobs. So it was just like, yeah, I'll just do my own thing, like kind of offer services that like I wasn't able to do in those jobs. So for example, I like literally, if you see my service menu that first came out, you would laugh. It's like $5 to make you a Facebook banner.
Oh my God!
$5 to make you a little brochure, or like, you know, just very cheap, basic. Like I was a hustler in college. I was a hustler. I babysat. Like I didn't live at school. I wanted to work. I worked at a dance studio. Like I had goals. I had savings goals. I had life goals that like I knew I didn't want to have debt. So I just worked and worked and worked. And marketing was a big part of that. So ultimately, I started this in 2020 as, like I said, a little side thing. I was babysitting for a couple of entrepreneurs at the time, and I told them like, oh, you know, I'm kind of tired of mopping floors at the dance studio. You know, I learned some great cleaning life skills from that job. I will say I was a secretary, but I did a lot there.
That's important.
I cleaned a lot.
Yes.
I did a lot. I literally like fixed the toilet, fixed the Wi-Fi. Like I learned so much from that. And that job also gave me like a lot of people skills. But I was kind of talking to these entrepreneurs and they're like, all you have to do is like start a social media and, you know, we kind of have a business, you know, like before you get real deep into it with all the business registration and whatnot. So I was like, yeah, I'll start it. And I called it magnetic marketing because I didn't know anything about copyright or anything about finding a business name. And I love alliteration, as you can tell from making it marketing.
Yes.
So yeah, that was what it was originally called. I was just, like I said, doing like really basic services, like making graphics and whatnot. And then our favorite 2020 thing happened. I don't need to say it. We all know what happened. I created the business like a month before everything shut down. And then the two part-time jobs that I had at the time, they were like, sorry, like we can't pay you anymore. We don't have stuff for you to do. Yeah. So I was like, well, I don't want you guys to go out of business. So I'll keep doing marketing for you. And I'll do it for free. And I'll do it under my name, what it was at the time. And that's what I did. And like I spent that time really learning my craft, like learning my skill. I forgot to mention I also used to make like little iMovies as a kid. So I have a video that's buried deep on my mom's Facebook page, The Life of Tara. And it was like literally a trailer. I was a dancer growing up. So it was like a trailer with me just dancing and just like doing random. It wasn't actually like what my life really was. It was just cute. It was fun. Like I had a lot of fun on my little iPod at the time. So yeah, I did a lot of stuff like that. And then just throughout college, I was able, you're good. I was able to kind of take that entrepreneurship certificate that I was working on in the classes and build a business plan from that. So once I figured out magnetic marketing, like that name doesn't work. The name, how this came about, I'm driving on 290, probably coming home from my dance studio job, and I was just thinking to myself, like, what are some things that start with M that could go with marketing? And I'm thinking, like, we're making things, you know, we're making people, like, achieve their vision of success. We're making people successful. So I just thought, okay, making it marketing. I like it. And then I go and I start making the logo, and the G of making was getting in my way because I wanted marketing right below it because the G was the only letter that went below like that straight line. So it's like, you know what? We don't need that.
We don't need that extra
We're getting rid of the G.
We don't need it.
So that's why we have the apostrophe and it's not making it marketing. And it kind of is more catchy, in my opinion, without it. So making it marketing. And over time, I developed the brand. So like originally it was just kind of like a basic word-only logo. And I was actually having a conversation with a client who was like, hey, like, why don't you have a symbol attached to your logo? And I'm like, maybe because I made my logo when I was 19. I don't know. I'm like, great question. I'm not sure. So I took a lot of time to think about it because I'm like, well, when you think about marketing, you think of like a laptop or maybe like a digital pen or something really basic. And I didn't want it to be basic. I didn't want my logo to be basic. So what I did is I kind of dug deeper into like, who am I as a person? What are my core values? What do I care a lot about? And that's where I kind of realized hiking. I love hiking. I love adventure. And hey, I could make the M's for making it marketing look like mountains. So that's what I did. I created this logo where we basically have a mountain and then there's a little check mark above that to signify the success. And then the little dot is for the I in it. And the dot also looks like a sun. So it's like showing you your future is bright when you're making it. So it's a little cheesy, but
I love it. I mean, you're wearing the shirt right now.
I know.
So let's show it to the audience.
I forgot this was on. I'm like describing. I'm like, I used to have a phone sticker.
I know. I was thinking like, what? Let's show me the shirt.
Like, oh yeah, it's here. It's here. So yeah, that's basically that's the logo. That's the story. And it's really easy for me to continuously tie it into my brand because I'm always traveling, I'm always hiking, and like a lot of my team members enjoy traveling. So it's great, like whenever they're, you know, across the world. I have a team member who's a digital nomad. He's traveling, he's out in Bali right now. Wow. So like he's doing some really cool hikes that we're gonna start using in our content. So it's really, it's a fun brand, you know, that I've created. And the gold is just kind of like a luxurious vibe. Like, we work with clients of all sizes, you know, literally someone who's a solopreneur all the way up to like larger businesses. Like we have a casino client. So it's really a wide range of service-based companies.
All right, wonderful.
I know that was long.
No, I love it. I love hearing your
get
journey.
me going on,
like, yeah,
man.
no, but I think it's so important to share.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think, you know, you can follow your dream at any age. You can follow your dream when you're young. You can follow it, you know, when you're older. And I think folks sometimes think you have to be a certain age. And I just, you can follow your dream at any age. I absolutely love hearing your story. I love seeing everything that you're doing and, you know, like the evolution of where you are from, you know, where you came from.
Yeah.
So when you just started, how many, was it just you when it started? Because now you have a team. So let's talk about when you got started and then like how did you build your team and who did you know to bring on board?
Of course, yeah. So I mean, in the beginning years before I took it full time, I was kind of just like a freelancer. You know, I was just kind of doing my thing. This was a side hustle, side gig, whatever. And then when I graduated in 2022, I worked in a corporate job. And that's kind of when I started to do a little self-discovery, kind of figure out what I like, what I don't like, what I really like about marketing. And I enjoyed social media, I enjoyed design and doing all that. So ultimately, like, I gave corporate a shot. We were there for a couple months, not too long. Some people will say to me like, oh my God, like, you know, I spent 10 years in corporate, now I'm an entrepreneur. No, I was just like, I learned.
It's not for you.
It's not for me. So I actually took Making It Marketing. I made it my full-time job in the fall of 2022. So at that point, it was me, but I had a conversation. And actually, this is the conversation that helped give me the push to do it full time. So I reached out to someone I know. He was my brother's soccer coach, my brother's high school soccer coach. He owns a nonprofit now called Our Bright Future. And I know that he had worked with interns, specifically from Nichols, from where I went. So I was like, hey, Quasi, can I have like a quick conversation with you? I was like, it's so funny to say, I was trying to figure out how to legally hire interns, like unpaid interns. Like I didn't want to do it the wrong way. I always want to be ethical in my business practices. I just literally couldn't pay them. So I was like, how can I offer it for credit and for experience? And he took the meeting, he walked me through everything. And in that call, it was just like a Zoom call or something. I was like, oh yeah, do you have any ideas on how I could create a business bank account? So these conversations were kind of towards the end of my corporate job before I was like looking for anything else or kind of figuring out what was next. And he was like, yeah, come out to coffee with me. I'll invite my business banker. We'll just have a conversation. She can help you get set up with everything.
Wow.
Okay, great. So we go to Sawdust in Sturbridge. We meet for coffee. And I think at that point I was applying to some different jobs. I think the corporate thing was kind of fizzling out. And I was telling them, yeah, like the only jobs I've heard back from are all in like the same industry from my existing job. I'm like, I don't really like this industry. I'm not sure where I want to go. And then I was talking about Making It Marketing. I don't even remember what I was telling them. And I remember the woman, Sherry, just said to me, you're so passionate when you talk about working for your own clients, working for yourself, having your business. And then you talk about applying to these jobs and you're like, not there.
Yeah.
You're just not passionate about it. And Quasi said to me, he's like, Tara, you just graduated. You have no kids. You have no mortgage. Like, there is no better time than now. He said, the thing that I hate the most is when people make up excuses on why they can't start now. He's like, you have a perfect situation to start now. He said, give yourself 3 months. Don't worry about making money. Work on the business. Figure out what you're going to do. And then take it from there. Just, you always have a degree to fall back on. And I was like, okay, cool. He's right. Because like I said, I worked all through college. So like I did have money saved. I wasn't out of the house yet. Like I was able to do that. And I'm very grateful for that too. Like I don't know like where my life would have gone. Because in college, I had a point where like I was thinking of like going out on my own, becoming independent, like getting an apartment. And that was all on like an unsteady part-time job, you know? So I think if I hadn't had the opportunity to do that, things might have turned out very different. And if I didn't have him tell me on that day, hey, you got to do it now, like there's no better time, I really don't know like if I would have taken it full time. Because I had more official mentors like through my school that were like, yeah, you got to get more experience. Bosses, 10 years minimum. And I was like, well, when you think about it, marketing changed today from yesterday. So if I waited 10 years, like it wouldn't really matter at that point, you know? So I took it full time at that time. I grew the team really quickly with interns. So really my first existence of the team was me and like 4 interns. All of a sudden I'm like managing all these different people, all different skills levels, like teaching them from the ground up. Like I think the hardest thing to teach is graphic design because it's such a specific skill set and you have to like have a certain eye for it, and not everybody has the eye for it. But as a marketer, you need to have some basic graphic design skills. So that was definitely a learning curve, like learning how to lead a team, learning how to teach people. I gave it about a year until I took on my first full-time employee because, as you know, it's expensive to have a team.
Yes.
And I did not want to have anyone full-time until I knew I had enough clients where we had steady income, because I didn't want to be like, hey, I got this full-time person. Oh, sorry, like we lost a client. You know, we
I
can't
gotta let
have
you go. Yeah.
Exactly. So once I got like a larger client, I felt that confidence of like, okay, I can pay myself and somebody else. So why don't we take someone on? And surprisingly, and I'm very proud of this, the woman I hired in the end of 2023, she's still a huge part of our team. She's still full-time with us.
That's wonderful.
So that's been, like, whenever people ask me, like, what's your proudest moment as a business owner? I'm like, you know, I can't pinpoint one thing, but being able to say that means a lot, especially in the day and age where a lot of people are job hopping. It's very easy for people to be like, oh, I want to make more money, I'm going to go somewhere else. So being able to, like, still have her on the team is so important to me. And from there, I've been able to grow into more part-time employees. We're still doing our internship program. So it's been a lot of learning, of course, just like any adventure, any journey, but it's been wonderful. And I'm very proud of my team and who they are. Like last week, I even brought some of the newer interns I just onboarded to a client meeting, and he was very impressed. He texted me after. He was like, hey, I had a great time today. Loved getting the feedback from everyone. Because, like, you asked a little bit about, like, how do you, I think you said, like, how do you hire or something along those lines. It's funny because, like, I always, of course, I care about the skills, but there's also that personality component. Like, we have to kind of vibe together if we're going to work together. I can't, if someone's not really on the same level, or like if they can't see the vision for the business, that's something I struggled with in previous jobs, is I never really knew or was explained to, like, what am I working for other than a paycheck? And that's really what I try to explain to them. It's like, hey, this is our mission. We care about helping businesses of all sizes grow, no matter where they're at, and being adaptable and flexible. Like I said, marketing changes, so we have to change and evolve as things go on. So yeah, it's been fun.
I love that. I mean, I love, and you know, I love the Gen Z term, like, you know, what
I keep calling myself out. It's so funny.
I love it,
like,
because it's like, you know what, but I'm glad that you have that luxury, because I know, like when we were, you know, we didn't have that luxury. Like, we had to just work, and like companies were not, they didn't care about us. I truly believe, like, they didn't care if we followed the mission and the vision of the company. They truly just, you're there, you do it, it's their idea, and
you're like a cog in the wheel.
Exactly. And I'm so grateful for like all the you know, the people that changed it, right? Because now, you know, things that were accepted, like the Harvey Weinsteins and the era and things like that, those no longer exist. But it took people standing up and speaking out, and like, it's not okay to talk to us like this. This is a toxic work environment. My mental health is important. I remember being shamed for trying to take vacations. You know, and then as the years grew, like, we're like, no, that's not okay. But it was like, it was the culture at the time, right? So it's just like, you even if you like stood up and took your vacation, you were an anomaly. No one else was standing up for you.
That's
Everybody's
wild.
like, oh my God, she took her vacation. Like, like Gen Z was like, I'm out.
I will say, I get a lot of hate sometimes for being Gen Z, but I will say I do feel like we're the generation that are changing those norms. And I think, like, you know, everyone switching to like work from home has been a huge part of that, getting the work-life balance. But I do think Gen Z has done a really good job at standing up and also being like, hey, I want to live my life while I can, while I'm young, while I'm healthy. Like, you and I were chatting about travel. Like, I don't want to wait until I'm, you know, older and retired to go see the world for the first time. I want to see it now. And then when I'm retired, I want to go see it again.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the places that I love. So yeah, that's super, super important to me. And in my, team, like for example, today I had a one-on-one with my full-time employee, and she's like, yeah, I'm taking a week off in August. I'm like, cool. Just let me know like solid dates and we'll plan ahead. And she's really great about being organized and like getting her work done before she leaves. So it's like she had a week off a couple weeks ago, and I said, how did you feel when you came back? Because it was really like her first time like taking that much time off. And she was like, you know what? Like things kept rolling. Like I didn't feel like I had a heavier workload when I came back, because I just picked up like a couple of things that she normally does, and then she took care of things planning wise, and we were good to go. It's all about having the right communication. And I think like one of the reasons I started Making It Marketing is because I wanted to be the boss that like I wish I had, like someone who's chill, like, but not too chill.
Hold you accountable, but you can still live your life. You don't own the person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's like a huge thing. I gotta practice what I preach. Like, I love to travel. If you want to travel, go travel. Like, it's all earns. Like they deserve it. So I'm all about it.
All right, perfect.
I personally take my work with me because I have to.
Like you have no choice. Like yes, I know.
As an entrepreneur, we have no time off.
I've been known to take a meeting or two from the Bahamas hotel room.
Love it.
But like
you're like the meme of like the person standing toes in the water with the laptop. Why is my Wi-Fi not working?
But that was because I was an entrepreneur before when I went to corporate. So I actually developed a love for travel because like when I was working for corporate, like there was no time off, right? They just treated you so poorly when you asked for a vacation. So the only way, and at the time we had this thing called Singular, like with the phone. I don't know if you ever heard about the Singular phone, and we didn't have T-Mobile and all this. Now the minute I land in any of these places, like it's like, oh, you're on Wi-Fi, and I was like, but back in the day, like your cell phone only worked in the U.S. Otherwise, you would get roaming charges like $5 million, right? So we would I was like, I'm going out of the country because I was a district manager for a couple brands, and so I was always on call. So I had like maybe 10, at one point I had 16 stores. So there was always people calling me, right? So the only way I could truly get peace was if I went out of the country and
like had no service.
Like I had no service. Like I was,
oh my God.
I remember being on vacation and there was a hurricane and like, I had no service. And then there was like, I went on Facebook and they were like, my boss was like asking if I was okay, if I was caught up in Jesus. Like that's how we communicate because no cell phone. So I used to be like, it's important for me to have work-life balance. It's important to spend time with my husband. It's important to spend time with my kids.
Exactly.
But then the years went on, and I started managing folks that were in their 80s to folks to 16 years old. Like there was just, the generations were different. And I always feel like there's things we can teach each other because 100%. There were some that like just worked every day and took their vacation pay as a paycheck. And then there was some like, they had 1 hour vacation and they were using it. It was just like
I got this.
It's like but like I was like the ringleader, like trying to balance it all and not making this one jealous or envious, and it was fun. But I do love when folks are able to. You can be successful, you can accomplish what you need to accomplish, and still have a work-life balance.
Exactly.
When you work for yourself, it is admittedly a little different. You could take some time off, but then like the next week you're gonna work. But then you have a team, so there's certain things you can rely on.
Yeah, and I've learned over time like how to delegate things. So like when I am going away, I'll be like, hey, like I'll usually check in the mornings and at night because like that's when I'm not doing like my travel activities, but. Yeah, I mean, I think it takes a lot to actually turn yourself off, turn your work brain off as an entrepreneur. Like,
it's hard.
I will literally be across the world somewhere and be like, oh, gotta check this, gotta respond right away. Because like, I think that's one of the things that like sets my company apart is we are super responsive. I don't care what day of the week it is, especially like I mentioned, we do work for casinos. Their busiest night is Saturday night. So like, I'm not really partying on a Saturday night. I'm home available if they need me to make a quick reel or like, and that's something that I'm also learning is like how to, because I don't want to put that on my employees either. So that's where having freelancers and part-time employees who do like have that availability availability on different hours really, really helps fill the gaps for that, for sure.
All right, awesome. So it's 2025. You're certainly reaping the benefits of, you know, the hard work that you're putting. And I think folks are seeing you now and they're seeing the clients, right? And they're like, oh my God, she's doing amazing. But let's tell folks about what it was for you to start. And what were some of the most challenging moments you have, like, right?
Oh, well, let's talk about imposter syndrome for a second here.
Okay.
Let's try to be 21 years old showing up to events full of strangers and being like, hi, I run a marketing company and I do this, this, and this, and I have success and I have clients. Like, I think that was my hardest thing, is like being comfortable calling myself founder and CEO. Because like when you're growing up, or just like in college in general, you think of CEOs as these like untouchable people, these people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars and like, oh, I'll never be that. I'll have to climb a crazy ladder. And like just being able to like give myself that title was very strange, I think, at first. You know, and I think another challenge is just the way other people perceive what you're doing. Like a lot of people don't see the vision or don't support you until they can get something in return. So like, luckily I didn't have too much of that, but a little dabble of that here or there. And of course, when people see that you're successful, they're like, oh my God, like, let's be friends. Let's hang, like, you know, like donate money here. And it's just like, okay, let's reel it back. Cause like, I am still young and I'm still learning. Like I've accomplished a lot. I've done a lot. We have success with our clients. Like that's not a problem at all. But I think that imposter syndrome, I think I've grown out of it for now, for time being.
Yeah.
But there are still times where, you know, you'll be in a room and you don't feel like you belong in that room. Like some really high-end events. Like it's really interesting to experience. And like, I think some people that are really great in the business world and the networking world are good at being chameleons and kind of blending in with any crowd. Like I was just having this conversation with one of my team members. He was like, yeah, like, I don't care if I'm, like, no matter where I am, I can find a way to fit in. And I think that that's something I've learned, is how to find, like, commonalities with people. Like, I think travel is a great example. Most people can talk about travel. Not everybody, but it's something that, like, a lot of people do like and enjoy. And then in terms of other struggles, I think just, like I said, learning how to grow and manage a team. I think that that's something they don't teach you in school, at any level of school, really. You have your master's degree, so you can attest to that. I'm sure you know a little bit more about leadership than I do in that sense, but I mean, like, it's really learned by doing. So
no, absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely been something I continue to learn. And I don't care how old I am or how experienced I am. I will always be a mentor to other people, and I will always be a mentee, because I value mentorship. I've grown so much from having so many wonderful different mentors in my life, and that's why I mentor others to give back. But like, I'll always be a student. I'll always be a lifelong learner, no matter what. So I think that knowing that and accepting that helps me continue to grow as an individual and as a business owner too.
No, absolutely. And I think you are correct. I think we should always be lifetime learners, because we won't know everything. I don't think there's ever a point in our lives where we're like, I mean, some people think that, but if you think that you know everything, it's
then you're stopping your own growth.
Absolutely, because there's such a vast array of topics that like it's interesting, and that's why I like people. That's why I have this show. That's why I talk to people, because I like to hear different things. You do, and by listening. And you know, one of the things you talked about, you know, is like, even with our masters, and I think I have like, so I have a certificate in strategic HR management, right? But managing people is so different, because what I learned in the textbook, when I couldn't apply that where I work, because again, I had these teenagers that worked for me who did not care that we had a goal to meet.
Exactly.
You know, they were in school all day. They had extracurricular activities. They're there for 4 hours. They really do not care. So how do you keep them inspired? Well, if according to the textbook, then you have to hold them accountable. Then you have to document. You do all of that. Like that does not work.
They don't care about that.
Not even a little bit. You have to treat people like human beings. And I think ditch the textbook there. I mean, it's nice. It's lovely when you have the you know, the diplomas and all of those things, but I think managing people is so different.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the things, we're learning right now, it's about mental health, and it's something that we never talked about. It's really not addressed in a lot of the textbook. And when we go to school and you learn how to be a leader and all of that, like they talk about emotional intelligence, but they don't talk about people actual struggles. So, there is book smart.
Yeah.
And then there's actual people smart, where you actually have to deal with people who are dealing with, COVID hit.
Yeah.
So.
Mental health.
So
everybody.
Absolutely. Like we have to constantly keep growing, and I'm glad that you overcame that. That imposter syndrome. I know that it's something that could certainly pop up.
Yeah.
But I always tell people, like, you belong in any room.
Exactly.
And, like, if somebody is in that room and they have a fancy title and they make you feel like you don't belong in that room, it's not on you, it's on them.
Exactly.
Like, they're a horrible human being. That's it.
Fair enough.
Like, they're a horrible human being.
Oh, yeah.
Because it really matters how you treat people. And just because you are CEO or CFO, you're going to treat somebody poorly because of your title, then you're a horrible human being.
Yeah. And I think one reason I have been successful in retention with my team is because I don't act like this top dog. Like, I literally do the work alongside them. And, like, I give feedback in the most kind way possible. Like, I'm just like, hey, maybe we should change this, this, and this. And I usually try to explain why, too.
Yeah.
Like, but I also, like, especially with my interns, I always say, if I give you feedback and you don't agree, tell me. Like, let's have a conversation because I want to hear why you did something the way you did, because everyone's coming from different lives, different perspectives. And I really do believe, like, as a leader, if you can treat your employees as equals, they will respect you and do the job so much better than if you don't. Like, and I think that that's such a huge reason why I love entrepreneurship and being my own boss, because I get to do that, and I get to, like I said, be the boss that like I always wanted, and just be a friend, but not like too much of a friend, just like enough of like, hey, how was your week? Like, let's check in, but also not like crossing those boundaries.
There's a fine line. There's a fine line, but I tell you, it works. You can make it work, and you seem to be doing very well.
I
see you at different events. I see you doing speaking engagement and all of these things. So your business has grown and evolved. So when you started in 2022, like, was that a part of the plan to be speaking at conferences and stuff?
No.
Or these are just things that just like, come on.
It happens. It just happens. So my public speaking story.
Yes.
I took a public speaking class at like my freshman year of college, and it was interesting because it was during that time. So like it started in person, and then I all of a sudden learned how to public speak online. And that was really weird and really interesting. But I was actually, I think, the person in the class that liked it the most. Like I really enjoyed speaking, and I really enjoyed sharing stories, and like we learned about like keeping your hands in the box and not saying and just all those like very like basics of public speaking. So from there, I was encouraged, actually, there was kind of like a deal from the professor, right? If you do our elevator speech competition that's school-wide, you don't have to do your final project with us.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, so a 60-second speech instead of a 5-minute speech in front of my class. I'll take the 60-second because the elevator speech competition gave you the opportunity to win money too. Oh, wow. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll do that. I'll tell the final, whatever. Yeah. And oh my God, I did this speech. I was every single time, I actually did this every year I was in college. Every single time I almost quit the second before, not the second, but like right before the thing actually started, I signed up, and then I'd be like, I'm too nervous. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't know what I'm going to say, even though I had like a full rehearsed speech and everything planned. So the first time was on Zoom, everyone was home, and my mom sends out the link to everybody. Her best friend was watching, and I'm halfway through my speech, and I had an Apple like Mac computer at the time, so all my texts came through, and I didn't even think I couldn't turn my volume off because I was in a Zoom room. So all of a sudden, I'm halfway through the speech, I get, ding, you're doing a great job, honey, a little text message, and I go, all of a sudden I start stuttering, and I'm like, what was I saying before? Like, I had no idea where the speech was going, so I got myself back on track. Long story short, I did not win that competition. Okay. I got some great feedback. It was great. Whatever. I did it the next year.
Okay.
The next year I did a speech because when you're a freshman, your speech is really like, hi, this is me and this is what I want to apply to as an internship. And it's very cut and dry.
Yeah.
And then I learned the people who were winning were telling like real life stories. Like they were drawing you in, they had a hook. So the second year, I graduated college a year early. So the second year was kind of about like how a lot of people doubted that I could do it in 3 years. And I was told, no, like you need to do this and this and this to change, to like, I don't know. I was just discouraged to graduate early. So I made my speech about that. That year I got third place and that was also on Zoom. So I was like, okay, we're talking here, but third place isn't first place, so I'm going to try again next year. So that was my senior year, and that was the first time in person. I might have been like the biggest audience I had spoken in front of, like at that point in my life. So I had done it. I went on stage, and this speech was about not wishing time away. Because as a kid, I had a little bit of a difficult upbringing. So like, I was always just wishing to be an adult, wishing to like write my own story, be independent, like do my own thing. So that's really what this speech was about. And I swept, I got first place. It was great. Great ego boost. Like it was amazing.
Yeah.
I got invited back to be the MC the next year. So like this is still a competition I'm deeply involved in. Like I actually am a judge for the competition now.
I love that.
But that's what got me into public speaking. And then I realized this elevator speech concept really is what I'm using in any networking room. Because you go up to someone, you say, hi, I'm Tara, this is what I do. I own a marketing firm, blah, blah, blah. So that's really like what helps me practice the public speaking over time. And then like I started getting invited to do bigger speeches and longer speeches. Like last year I was the baccalaureate speaker for my high school, for Wachusett High School, for their graduating class.
Congratulations.
That was so cool. It was so weird being in a room full of like high school students, because normally I'm speaking to business owners, to people that are older than me. So I actually get more nervous when I'm
they
speaking.
could be harsh.
Well, not even that. So like my thing when I speak is I want one person out of the whole room, or it would be great if it was everybody, someone to walk away with one thing they didn't know or think about before. That's always the goal. So like when I'm speaking to people younger than me, I'm like, ooh, I have the power to change their life with my words, because I had my life changed by a TED Talk I sat in person for. Like there was this girl who talks about how she travels remotely and like lives in different places every single month, and like just that's her life. Like, and that's really what encouraged me more to travel. I don't do that because I, have my life here and have my business here, but there have been speakers that have really kind of set me on different paths that I probably wouldn't have thought of before that. So that's been huge. And now a lot of my public speaking is like just different ways to get back to the community. Like the night we just reconnected was at an E4All event. I talked about my experience with E4All, what I loved about it, just sharing the journey so other people know about it. And I think like as I speak, I try to be a warm, like I am a warm, welcoming, inviting person. So like I always love when people come up to me after and they're like, hey, I have a question, or I want to chat or connect, because like there's no better way to get yourself out there and known than literally speaking in front of a room full of people. So
absolutely,
it's my weird secret hobby that I just love more than anything.
I love that.
I might love travel more than public speaking.
Okay, we're gonna get to travel, and we've been talking.
I know, I keep like dropping my
little hint. I'm like, what is it called? Easter egg? Is that what you guys call it?
Yes. Oh yeah, my Easter egg.
It's a Taylor Swift Easter egg, right?
Exactly. I will stop bringing it. It's so weird.
Not
it's like
at all.
literally such a part of me. I can't not talk about it. It's crazy.
It's okay. I mean, I think it becomes part of who we are, right?
Exactly.
And if it's at the core, you love to travel, that's okay.
It's part of who you are.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I love that.
yeah.
So I know that we've been talking about your business, and Richard really wanted to inspire others. And I think that, like I said, your growth from you started a couple years ago to now, and just the evolution of your business has been fantastic. So I do want to say congratulations.
I appreciate it.
I am so proud of you. I see you, and
Can we talk about how we met though?
Okay, let's talk about
we
how
kind of skipped that.
We did. Okay, let's talk about how we met. How did we meet?
Okay, so when I decided to take my business full time, I started networking, of course, and that's when I heard about E4All and all that they offer.
Yes.
And I applied to the pitch competition in 2023.
Yes.
Oh, once again, I almost backed out right before it started.
Yes.
They also asked us to do it. Like, they announced who was going to be speaking like 2 days before, and I was like, how am I ever going to put together my poster board, like my speech, everything? So I was so nervous. And I showed up to this event. Everyone was so kind, so welcoming. You were kind of walking around, doing your thing. I'm like, I think she's a judge. And then you go and sit down at the table. I'm like, okay, she is a judge. So you were my judge. And you got to see my early baby stages of being full-time with Makin and marketing. And I've seen you around Worcester ever since.
No, I did.
We've been friends ever since.
It was a tough competition, though.
I know.
There were so many.
There was a lot of good ideas.
Fantastic. I was like, oh my God.
Yep,
I love it, but I also hate it.
It's hard. I mean, I've sat in your seat
We
now,
just,
so like, I know.
Yeah, we're like, oh
tough.
my goodness.
Yeah.
There's so many things to think
And there's a lot
about.
of like specific criteria that have you kind of vote on too.
Yeah.
So it's okay I didn't get first place. I'm not upset.
I wasn't going to say anything about that. Like, but
I
you
came
got
in second.
You got second.
It's okay.
Like, it was
It was a learning experience.
hard. It was so hard. Like, we were back there for so long. Magdalena was the executive director at the time. We're like, oh my God. And she was like, you guys have to make the decision. And we're like, but you know what? I think the top three were fantastic. And it's just like, it's you and, whoever won. But it was really, really tough. And that.
Though, he had like this exuding passion that like my business school training just like did not teach me how to do.
He was like, very
very like exuberant,
just outgoing and just all of that, and just like
I'm all facts. Like I do show my
definitely.
personality in speaking, but like he was just like a little bit more like I love it. You know what I mean? Like
he exuded his business. Yes, it did. Like he exuded his business because I will like you see him and you want to ask him about his business, right?
Oh, 100%.
So I mean, it was great. I think you both did fantastic. So, but I don't think
no hard feelings.
First of all, what's her name? Jennifer Hudson didn't win American Idol. Fantasia didn't win. Like there's a lot, and they still came back. Okay.
There's more competition.
There is more competition.
I honestly enjoy so much like being on the judge side now.
Yeah,
like
I do.
I don't know if I would do other pitch competitions, maybe, but I also feel like I'm a little too far into my business to show up in a room like that.
Yeah.
Like, because it really is for budding entrepreneurs.
I do believe that. I do believe that. I mean, I know it's any level, right? But I do think that, and that's what you have to judge on, right? You have to, base them on that. The good thing is that E4All has the specific criteria.
Yes.
And it was like maybe a month or two ago, you and I were like judges together, and that was challenging.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Like,
oh, yeah.
But I do love it. Like the joy they get, just from that. And because you never know. I just feel that you never know if somebody's at that moment deciding to like just give up.
Make or break,
like just be like,
and you never want to be the reason.
I don't want to. I don't want to. So even the ones that don't win, like sometimes I'll have and that's why I'm like was like, it's okay.
Yep.
This is just one event.
It's just a stepping stone. It is. Like honestly, that event. I don't even care what I came home with. Yeah. I came home with a community. Yeah. Like to be honest, like I came home with a family of people who are other entrepreneurs, because like when I first started out, I didn't know about E4All, I didn't know about Small Business Development Center, and now there's all these great things in Worcester like Auxilium that's up and coming.
I know.
There's so many opportunities for entrepreneurs to be supported and to grow, and I love it, and it makes me so happy, and I just want to be the person that tells everybody about these things. I am like this unofficial, like, I don't even know, like brand ambassador for every single organization that's ever helped me. And that's like my team and I were talking last week, and they're like, you might be posting a little too much about the same things. I'm like, I know, but I love it. Like, I love it. Like, it's such a part of me. So,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Somebody is getting that information. Like, somebody is getting that information.
Every time.
Somebody needs it. Yeah. Like, I always say to folks, like, when I post, like, I'm not as consistently posting as I should be sometimes because life happens, right?
I know someone that could help. But like, I'm not sure where they are, though.
Wow!
My own plug to the business.
Anyways, go on. I love it.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key, right?
It is.
But
That was the best.
I
little
love it. That
plug.
was the
I love
perfect
it.
segue, right? But
Yeah.
I tell folks it's like the engagement matters sometimes,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Because if you're building a business,
Yeah.
but I get like messages from folks just say thank you for the post today, like
Yeah.
and they didn't engage with the post, and
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like it helped
Those
me.
are the ones who see it the most.
I do.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm
Yeah.
going through a tough time. Like your posts about never giving up, like
Oh,
help
I
me,
love
and like
that. Yeah.
that makes my day.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I post and I consistently post, and then folks will
Yeah.
sometimes like, oh my God, you post so much, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? Because I want folks to see that you can truly enjoy your life. Like you can
Exactly.
focus on positivity.
Yeah.
You can celebrate yourself. You can celebrate others. You can have your
100%.
business and
Yeah.
just live life, because afterlife
agree.
is.
I don't know. I don't know what you believe, but you just don't know.
I
So-
do believe in heaven,
I
but
do,
the
yeah.
heaven I believe in, I'm told like we
Yeah.
won't have our physical body,
Exactly,
right? So
yeah.
it's just it's different. So like we have
Yeah.
one life to live.
Yeah.
We've got to live the life.
I'm
We've
with
got to be
you.
true to ourselves.
Yeah.
We've got to be kind to others.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
one last thing about
Yes.
business, because like
right, let's
I want to
hear
talk
it.
about travel.
I know.
What is, and this is going to be hard.
Okay.
What is
all right.
the number one gem or the
Yeah.
number one piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur that's looking to start right now?
Oh, just do it. Like, not to hit you with the Nike slogan or anything. Okay, but here's my
All
actual.
right, copyright, but we'll
Here's
move on.
my actual quote. If you are too scared to do something, do it scared. Honestly, like I've used that quote for business. I've used that quote in travel. I jumped off of a cliff for fun because of that
I
quote.
will not.
We'll insert the footage in the comments later. But yeah, no, seriously, like it's okay to jump into something if you don't feel you're never going to be 100% ready. So like why wait? There is literally no reason why you should wait. Like you just said, you only have one life to live. Do it now. There's no better time than now. Like no matter what is going on in your life, if you prioritize your business and your goals, you can make it happen. And if you surround yourself with the right people, you'll make it happen even faster. So
I love that.
That's my little tip
I
of the
love
day
that.
for
I
entrepreneurs.
love that. I can't add to that. That is
Fair
absolutely
enough.
perfect. So thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
No, I really enjoy talking about your business, but I
Yeah.
want to talk about like, your Easter egg.
Yeah, my little fun.
Your little fun travel.
The 1% of my life that you see all on social media.
Listen, it's important. Like
It
it's
is,
important. So
yes.
tell me
Yeah.
about your traveling, Lena.
Okay,
Like
all right.
jumping off a cliff is a little cray, but
Okay,
it's
yes, it
okay.
is.
Let's talk about the travel bug and
Yes,
how we
okay.
got it and what are we doing now?
All right. So I grew up as a Disney kid. Hi, Mom, if you're watching this. I got plenty of vacations to Florida,
Okay.
and I was very grateful at the time. I got to travel around the world in Epcot, and that was pretty much as far as I had gone. I went to Canada when I was like 4, but
Yeah.
my family is not very big. Like no one in my family has really like been outside the country besides like to Canada or Mexico for like something small. You know what I mean? So as I went through, I had a midlife crisis actually. A not so midlife crisis, but it was the beginning of my senior year of college. And it was during winter break when I had nothing to do. I didn't have a lot of stuff going on with work. I didn't have school. So I was really forced to look within and figure out, like, who am I when I'm not working, when I'm not studying? Like, college is ending soon, like, where I was at the time. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, what do I do for fun? Because my hobby has been work. Like, literally, my hobby has been work since I was 16 years old. So I talked to a friend who's 5 years older than me. She went to the same school. She graduated. She was kind of like in a mentor capacity before she became a close friend of mine. And she told me about this like group that she travels with. It's called EF, and it's a way to travel with people like in my age range, but go by myself, because being young, a lot of times your friends don't have the time or the money to travel, and if they do, they probably want to go somewhere else. Like they don't necessarily have the same bucket list as you.
Absolutely.
So I had my list of places I wanted to go, and I was kind of toying around with the idea of like, oh, maybe I would work remotely somewhere for a month and live there. And then I realized like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like being newer to travel, I kind of wanted to like dip my toes in the water a little bit. So this is so crazy because it's not dipping my toes in the water. My first solo trip was to South Africa. So I booked that. I booked that.
Okay.
I was actually gonna do like a hike the Alps in Europe trip, and this was in 2023, and that's when I got that big casino client. And they wanted to start the week that I had the trip planned. So it's like, I am not gonna be in Europe when they want to start, because this is very important to me.
Yeah.
Like, this is the biggest client I had ever had at the time. So it's like, we're gonna move that trip. And with this company in particular, they don't let you cancel. So I had to like just rebook to another trip, and they didn't have as many options for that one in the springtime. So it's like, well, someone told me about South Africa being cool, so like maybe I'll go there, because I knew that was a place that not a lot of people in my life, really no one in my life, had interest in doing. And there's nothing cooler than a country where you can see penguins on the beach, do a safari, hike a mountain, and see wine country all in one trip.
It's quite stunning.
So I was like, all right, I think that's what I'm gonna do. And when I booked it, like they give you, there's like a Facebook group, so I was able to kind of connect with other people that were going on the trip. I found 2 girls from Boston, found out we had the same flights, and I was like, let's get lunch. Like before the trip, like let's get lunch, let's connect. So I made friends with them, and that helped me so much get over the like, I'm going alone, because now I have 2 friends. Like, you know, 2 friends I just made after one lunch at New Kitchen in Worcester or whatever. So I did that trip, absolutely fell in love with it. I actually really enjoy going on these things alone, because it forces you to meet people. It forces you to make friends. This is the trip I jumped off the cliff. It was like kind of like a valley thing. It was on our way up to Kruger National Park, which is where the safari is. And I was so nervous. I told people, I'm like, I'm doing this for the content. I'm doing this for my business. I really was hoping the video would go viral, and it didn't. But like, it was still worth it. I didn't die. I asked them like, hey, like, how often do you test? Because it was like, they basically, you like sit down and they push you off, but you're in a harness, and it's like a big swing. So you go off the cliff, you swing back and forth like a pendulum or whatever, and then you stop, and then they like lower you down. So that was really fun.
Okay.
I still have dreams about like doing stuff like that. I think I had a dream about like jumping out of a plane the other day. So maybe it's all the reels I watch. I don't know. But that was my first like big trip. And then from there, I made a couple friends who were like, hey, we're going to Peru with EF in December. So I was like, oh, I wasn't planning on doing another trip this year, but that sounds pretty cool. And I'd rather go when I know people are going that I already know. So that was like my second really big trip by myself. That was December this past year. I got to see Machu Picchu. It was amazing. The culture there was so fun. And then the only other country I've been, we talked a little bit about London before this started. I got stuck on a layover there coming back from South Africa. But then the only one I've done that like was outside of the group travel is Costa Rica. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. You get beaches, mountains, volcanoes, monkeys, sloths. Like, it's so cool. I actually so I went there in February 2023 with my dad. It was like just our first trip we ever did, just us, and I planned the whole thing. So it was cool. We did like a ton of excursions. We did ATVing, and that was the first time I experienced meeting friends traveling, because we went whitewater rafting. And my dad was like, oh, I'm so beat. Like, I'm going to bed at like 6 p.m. And we're on the van on the way back to our place. And I'm like, so is anyone doing anything tonight? Because I liked them. Like, I could tell they were good people. And then we ended up like all going out, like exploring this city called La Fortuna. And I've seen those friends like a couple times since that trip. So I think the best thing about travel is just like the people, honestly, because you meet people from back home, but you also meet people from the country that you're visiting. So it's like the perfect blend, and
it's
like
beautiful.
It's great for the content too.
I love that. I mean, it's great, and you're enjoying yourself. I love that. I love that. All right, so I have 2 more questions, because I know that like we're running out of time, and we have so much to talk about. So we're gonna have you back on season 4. I swear, like everybody, because I don't feel like an hour is enough.
I know.
All right, so bucket list country, like the place that you really want to visit.
Okay, well, I have it booked.
Okay. I love it. Tell me where.
It's not a country. So it's Patagonia. So Chile and Argentina. So I'm going in November. So I'm going to be seeing like the mountains and the glaciers. My bucket list always changes, right? So like Iceland is another one that I want to go to, but that's somewhere that like I have friends and family that are like, oh yeah, I'll go there, just not yet. So I'm like checking off all the places that like no one else is super interested in. So yes, I would say Patagonia
Okay.
probably because I'm going.
And you
anyways,
already have it
but-
booked, so I love that. All right, living out your
Yes,
dream. And then final
absolutely.
question.
Yeah,
You're
let's hear
very
it.
busy.
Yep.
You are just truly out there living your best life.
We do our
And,
best.
and I love that for you. You're
Thank you.
traveling, you're working hard, you're getting new clients, you're building your brand. How do you self-care?
By travel.
Okay.
No, actually,
I love
okay,
it.
so I have a couple hobbies.
Tell me.
I enjoy yoga. I go
Okay.
to a yoga studio in Worcester. It's just very peaceful, and what I really like about it is no one there knows me. Besides like the teacher if you go to the same
Yeah.
class, but it's kind of cool like just
Yeah.
going like kind of just being a fly on the wall and like not
Just
being
being.
noticed. You know, different than business. You walk
Yeah.
in and it's all about like show. Like
Absolutely.
yoga's just like you're there to zen, to relax. And then my other like non-official hobby, but what I actually do to like give myself a break in the middle of the day or at the end of a long work day is I've been running. So I run like around my area and I'm trying to be a better runner. I just beat my time, my personal
Okay.
record from like when I started recording a couple of years ago. So I'm not a fast runner,
Okay.
but every time I go, the goal was to get a little faster every time. So I'm hoping to run like maybe 4 miles comfortably by the
Okay.
end of the summer, which is a good goal. I ran 3, but like slowly and
Okay.
painfully. So that's my self-care. I have a kitty. His name is Theo. He's a tabby cat. I feel like I
okay.
need to like insert pictures of all these things in the comments later on. I'll be busy later. Literally Theo, because I work from home, like Theo is
It's with
kind
you all the
of
time.
well, he's just kind of like that vice. So like, oh, I need a break. I'm gonna hang out.
Yeah.
With, like it's so cheesy. I'm gonna hang out with my cat. I just got him a little harness, so we go
Yeah.
out on my deck and just enjoy the warm weather. And
Oh
he's
my
an indoor cat,
God.
but
Yeah.
I give him his daily dose of fresh air. So
Okay.
yeah, I would say those are my 3 things, and of course family. Like I love my family. I love hosting. I really enjoy like having dinners at my house. So. That's pretty much all about me.
I love
That's
it.
everything.
I love
Business
it.
being the main part,
I
right?
love it. I love
Yes.
it. Well, I am so happy for you.
Thank
I'm
you.
so excited to
Thank
see
you.
your growth and looking forward to some amazing thing
Yes.
from Makin and Makin. Let's show our
Thank-
logo.
Yes.
Yes.
The little mountain.
Yes.
Now you guys know the brand.
Now we know
what
the
it
brand.
is. Yes.
Absolutely. But listen,
Yeah.
thank you all so much for tuning in. My loyal subscribers and viewers, I appreciate you. Thank you, our executive producer, Paul Anderson, for making the magic happen, and our fantastic guest, Tara.
Thank you so much.
much for
Thanks
saying
for having
yes.
me.
Thank you
See
for
you on
coming
season
on.
4.
See you on season 4. Absolutely. And see you around the community.
I'll see you probably next week.
I know,
Who
right?
knows?
Like tomorrow. Are you
Wherever.
at the conference tomorrow?
No.
Okay,
no,
so,
but
all right.
Maybe next year.
We will, like, I'll see you.
I'll
We'll
see you. I'll
Yes,
see you.
all
No,
right.
I've been to that one before. though.
Yes.
It's a great conference. So
Absolutely.
you'll have a blast. Yeah.
Absolutely. I shall.
Yes.
Well, thank you all so much. And until next time, this
Yes.
is Suzanne and
Tara.
saying
Adios, amigos. That's
Bye.
my Spanish traveling. Have a good one. No, I can't even speak English.
I know, right?
We love it.